You're going to see a guy come from the bottom of our screen who is a patient, who our guard does not know is suicidal. And he is going to come up and reach for his gun to try to take his own life. He didn't announce that. So our guard's going to, kind of protect his gun.
Yeah. Whoa.
Todd-Town family, what's the biz? Y'all already know what it is. Sending them positive vibes to my Todd-Town family. Y'all know how I rock. If you haven't already, please hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification button so you can stay up to date with the latest and greatest content you don't want to miss. Tune in. Anywho, without further ado, welcome to Todd-Town.
If you openly carry a firearm, not only must it be in a retention holster, but you got to know how to retain it with your actions.
Facts.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I am so glad that you are here to make your training and your practice more evidence-based. I am your host, John Correa, and today's lesson comes to us from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Our guard here, prior service Marine, serving as an armed security guard in an emergency room here in Chattanooga. Okay. You're going to see a guy come from the bottom of our screen who is a patient, who our guard does not know is suicidal. And he is going to come up and reach for his gun to try to take his own life. He didn't announce that. So our guard's going to kind of protect his gun, and then the pileup shows up. We see what looked to be a nurse or an assistant some kind come in and go the Terry Tate office linebacker. Everyone else piles on the guy. He was charged with aggravated assault, told the arresting officer on the way to jail that he didn't want to hurt anyone, that instead he was trying to die by suicide. The judge, even though he was convicted of aggravated assault, sentenced him to a diversion rehab program. And this gentleman here, our guard, is actually going to be on the ASP podcast. So that's set up a little bit in the future. So stand by for that. Make sure you subscribe to the ASP podcast. Okay, what's your preference? Do you openly carry? Maybe that's your job, like this security guard, or are you a concealed carrier? Me, I am a concealment guy all the time. I can't remember the last time I openly carried a firearm. I'm not against it. I think it should be legal everywhere, but I just think that it adds a level of complexity as a carrier that I don't want to deal with, so I conceal. What about you? Very tough job in America working in an emergency room. The number one vector for people being admitted to inpatient mental health treatment is through the emergency room. They come into the ER, they get held there for days, and then they end up in, finally in an inpatient mental health facility when a bed opens up. It's happened in my family. It's a really tough spot. So, and they get to see all kinds of crazy things in the ER every single day. So this is a crazy job. You got to be on your toes. And I think our guard I think he did a really good job of it. I think he did some subtle things here that were really, really good.
I like how
so let's talk about them so we can use them in our own sense. So number one, kind of sees this guy coming a little ways away, and then watch how subtly he turns his body away to turn his gun away from the guy. So I'm just kind of, okay, it's not my job, whatever, but that guy starts kind of beelining for him. So he turns his hip away because he's got a gun on his hip. Now, of course, for those of us who conceal carry, your concealment should be your defense against somebody taking your gun. They don't know it's there, so they're not going to go for it. But if you openly carry a firearm, whether that's part of your job like it is his, or you choose to open carry and it's legal in your state, whatever, understand that these kind of bladings and those things are an important part of just keeping your gun away. Also having a retention holster, very important, because he comes around to reach around, and the very first spot that you want to do here, if you kind of sense this is coming, is a sweep of the arms to keep him off your gun to begin with. Because once he grabs a hold of the gun, now you're dependent upon the retention features of the firearm, which it should have active retention and be battle tested, really thoroughly tested in order to keep that gun in there. But if you can keep his hand off with a sweep first before it gets there, that's the best and ideal. But he doesn't in this case. That happens sometimes. So he goes on the offensive and attacks this guy. Remember though, when we are worried about retaining our firearm, we have to first retain the firearm. And the best retention holster in the world is not going to keep a guy from getting it out of the holster eventually. It's only going to slow him down. So even at a level 3 retention, a level 4 even, it starts to be a Rubik's Cube to get in to get the thing out. It's only going to keep it for long or until the materials fail. So you want to get a hand on that gun, stuff it down, down rather than attack the guy. I mean, I get it. You want to punch him, whatever, keep him off you. He does a good job here, though, of then getting both of his hands on his gun. You notice that our perp here has pulled his belt all the way around so the gun is in front of him. So he turns away and puts both hands on the gun and gets his arms short. Generally in disarm attempts, the person with the shorter arms is winning and the person with the longer arms has less strength and is losing. So turning the gun away from him is okay. Now, it's not ideal in a self-defense perspective, but he's in an emergency room. He knows he's going to get help quickly, but he needs to keep the guy from getting the gun because that can turn the tide very quickly. So he goes down on the ground in order to protect his gun. Very wise. Once you have a little bit of dominance, get the ground where you can use it to defend yourself as well. Also, props to the guy in the purple chartreuse, whatever it is. And is he a nurse? Is he a nursing assistant? Is he an orderly? I don't even know if they have those words anymore. But dude, he came in like Terry Tate office linebacker, came in to just absolutely tackle this guy when he heard what was going down. And props to him for having that kind of courage. Now then, once he does, that milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And some of these folks don't even look like staff. Looks like summer staff, but it looks like maybe a couple of them might be either vendors, patients, other folks. There's another guard that finally shows up. And it is absolutely, if this was cops, we'd call it a polyester pileup, right? So I don't know if it's like, a scrubs pile or whatever to try to get this guy into custody. And they did an excellent job of that. And this day they saved his life because he wasn't able to take his own life and die by suicide. So props to them for that. This was a very good disarm protection. This was really good stuff from him. I'm looking forward to hearing him on the Ask Podcast. It's going to take a little while to get that organized and get him on the channel. So make sure that you're subscribed for that. Good work, dude. I think you covered your asp.
Hey, man, that nurse came in like a wrecking ball, didn't he? Man, shouts out to him, man. It seemed like he waited all his life for that moment. I don't know if he should be a nurse or he should be in the WWE or something, man. The takedown was nice. That was a 10 out of 10 takedown. I will say with my years and my closely relation to the medical field, I've never seen that many men in one unit. I ain't mad at it, man. I would definitely want them a part of mine. They came to the security guard's aid when he needed it. That's what it's all about, teamwork. I will say the mental health patient seemed like he may have sized that guard up. The guard was on his P's, man. I'll say that. I like the way you've seen in the beginning pointed it out. That was the first thing I recognized. I always talk about that situational awareness, and that guard definitely had it. I pointed it out in one of my other videos in the past where, it was security guards and it was the same type of situation. They were in a mental health facility and the security guard had her back turned against the patient and the patient was able to try to attempt to grab the firearm. In this situation, in this case, you can see how he subtly turns his back as the patient was walking up. That was great situational awareness. I always speak about that. He had that. I give him that. I brought it up to say that it seems like that patient may have sized the officer up, even though the guard may have got training and things like that. That was a big patient. I think he may have sized him up, took some time to fill him out. That's what gave him the courage to even go for him in that gun. If you see that size difference, I think that this is what gave him the momentum. But like I say, man, shout out to everybody that came to his aid. Kudos, man. Like I said, I definitely want them gentlemen a part of my unit. And y'all know how I always say, man, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, whoa.